Has your Phalaenopsis orchid ever been in a condition like this? The lower leaves near the base gradually turn yellow and fall off, while the remaining leaves become soft, wrinkled, and wilted. Seeing the plant becoming weaker and weaker makes many beginner growers think that the plant can no longer recover. Because of this, many people choose to throw away these orchids without realizing that they still have a chance to be revived. Welcome to the Wonder Garden channel, a place where simple, useful, and easy to apply orchid care tips are shared for use right at home. Today I will bring this orchid home and guide you step by step on how to restore it, helping the plant develop new roots, grow new leaves, and gradually regain its vitality. The special thing is that These are 3 orchid plants that I bought for about $10 at a local orchid store. To begin, we need to remove the entire plastic nursery pot around the base of each plant. This helps us inspect the entire root system inside, making it easier to evaluate which roots are healthy, which are damaged, and which areas may require additional treatment before moving on to the next care steps. Next, carefully inspect the entire root system. Any roots that are rotten, dried out, mushy, or no longer functional should be completely removed. Removing damaged roots not only helps reduce the risk of fungal infection, but also allows the plant to focus its energy on developing stronger new roots in the future. At the same time, removing weak or rotten roots helps create a more aerated environment around the root system, allowing new roots to form more easily and develop more steadily once the plant is placed into fresh growing media. In addition, the plant no longer wastes unnecessary energy on damaged roots, enabling it to recover faster, adapt better to its new environment, and maintain stronger, more sustainable growth in the next stage. Let the plants rest for a few hours so the cut surfaces can dry properly. Now comes the most important step. We will gently disinfect the orchids before repotting. To do this, I will use turmeric powder. Turmeric contains curcumin and many natural compounds with antibacterial and antioxidant properties, which help protect freshly cut root surfaces and reduce the growth of harmful fungi. I will prepare about 500 milliliters of hot water, then add 1 tablespoon of turmeric powder. When soaked in hot water, the natural compounds in turmeric will gradually be extracted into the solution. Many people may be surprised, but this is one of the methods the Amish often use to care for plants. They do not rely heavily on expensive chemical fertilizers, but instead use natural ingredients available around them. Then, stir the solution thoroughly. Stirring thoroughly helps all the ingredients dissolve completely and distribute evenly throughout the solution. Finally, cover the container and let the solution steep until the water cools completely. After about 3 hours, once the turmeric solution has completely cooled, strain out all the residue and keep only the liquid. Filtering the solution removes any remaining insoluble particles, making it clearer and more stable. This also makes it easier to use while reducing the risk of sediment accumulating in the pot or adhering to the roots during application. At this point, the natural compounds from the turmeric powder have fully infused into the solution and are ready to be used for the orchids. Next, add about 1 liter of clean water to dilute the solution. This helps reduce its concentration, making it gentler and safer for both the roots and leaves during use. Then, pour a portion of the diluted solution into a separate container and use it to gently sanitize the plant. Now I will dip these young orchid plants into the turmeric solution. Note that we will only dip the leaves and the leaf bases so these surfaces can be evenly exposed to the solution. I will gently rotate each plant several times so the solution coats the leaves in areas where dust or microorganisms often accumulate. Handling the plant, this gently helps minimize damage to delicate young leaf tissue while ensuring the solution is distributed evenly across the entire surface. This provides gentle cleaning and creates a more favorable environment for the plant during this sensitive stage. In addition, dipping the plant helps reduce the buildup of fungi and bacteria on damp areas of young plants, supporting healthier growing conditions. As a result, the plant can adapt more easily after separation or propagation and maintain stronger, more vigorous growth. As for the root base and root system, I will not soak them at this stage because they are still surrounded by the old moss. Keeping the moss dry helps prevent prolonged moisture retention and reduces the risk of affecting the roots during treatment. In addition to the English voice, we have now created dubbed voices in French, German, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese, Hindi, and Indonesian to help you understand the content more easily. Listen in your preferred language by opening the video and clicking on Settings, the gear icon, to select the appropriate audio language. After dipping the plants, I will use a soft cotton pad soaked in the turmeric solution and gently wipe all the orchid leaves. Wiping the leaves helps the solution make better contact with the leaf surfaces, while removing dust and remaining debris. When wiping, do it gently on both the upper and lower leaf surfaces to avoid damaging young leaves. Most importantly, do not forget to carefully clean the leaf bases and leaf joints, as these areas often trap moisture and dirt during routine care. If you want to learn the secret to caring for Phalaenopsis orchids, make sure to watch this video carefully until the end. Your orchids will become strong, grow new roots, and bloom vibrantly all year round. After finishing, place the orchids in a cool, well-ventilated area until they are completely dry. I will use the remaining turmeric solution to treat and disinfect the growing medium before repotting the orchids. Here, I am using pine bark and moss as the main growing medium. Instead of regular water, I will soak the entire medium in the turmeric solution for about 20 minutes. This allows the solution to evenly contact the surface of the pine bark and moss while helping clean the growing medium before use. In addition, the natural compounds found in turmeric help limit the growth of fungi and bacteria that may already be present in the growing medium, reducing the risk of root diseases during the early stages after planting. At the same time, soaking the growing medium helps remove some of the remaining dust, debris, and impurities trapped in the pine bark and sphagnum moss, leaving the medium cleaner and better prepared for young orchids. Once the growing medium has reached an appropriate moisture level, it becomes looser and better aerated, creating a more favorable environment for root development and helping the orchid adapt more quickly to its new growing conditions. After 20 minutes, once soaking is complete, I will remove the growing medium and let excess water drain away. At this point, the pine bark and moss are ready for repotting, creating a cleaner and more breathable environment for root development in the coming months. Allowing the growing medium to drain thoroughly helps balance its moisture level, preventing it from becoming overly wet when the orchid is planted. This reduces the risk of root rot during the early stages of establishment. At the same time, it helps preserve the air spaces within the pine bark, allowing the roots to breathe more easily and adapt more quickly to their new environment. In addition, once excess water has drained away, the growing medium becomes more structurally stable, making it easier to secure the orchid firmly in the pot while reducing the chance of the plant shifting during future care and maintenance. Now I will repot these 3 orchids. First, prepare a terracotta pot like this. This type of pot provides excellent airflow, allowing the roots to breathe more easily and reducing prolonged moisture buildup. Most importantly, the pot must have drainage holes and ventilation holes, so excess water can escape quickly. However, if you do not have a terracotta pot, you can absolutely use a plastic pot. Just make sure it has enough drainage and airflow holes to prevent the roots from becoming suffocated. Next, I place a thin layer of foam at the bottom of the pot to improve airflow and help water drain faster after watering. Then I spread a thin layer of pine bark on top to create a base for the roots and reduce the chance of the medium becoming compacted over time. This layer of pine bark improves airflow around the root zone while creating natural air pockets that allow water to drain more efficiently, helping prevent water from accumulating and reducing the risk of root rot. In addition, it helps maintain the long-term structure of the growing medium, providing a stable environment that supports healthy and sustainable root development. Next, I spread a thin layer of moss over the surface. This layer helps maintain consistent moisture around the young roots while providing a soft environment that allows them to attach to the growing medium more easily and adapt more quickly after repotting. Next, place the orchids into the pot and adjust their positions so they look balanced and harmonious. Positioning the orchids correctly not only creates a more natural and visually appealing arrangement, but also ensures that each plant has enough space to grow. It also allows light and airflow to be distributed more evenly, helping prevent overcrowding and encouraging balanced, healthy growth over time. Once the positioning feels right, add more pine bark around the roots to secure the plants. Do this gently so the orchids stay stable while still maintaining enough open space for air circulation around the roots. The goal is to arrange all 3 orchids evenly in the pot, ensuring both visual appeal and enough space for root growth. Properly packing the pine bark around the roots helps secure each orchid firmly in place, minimizing movement that could damage newly developing roots. At the same time, the natural gaps between the pieces of pine bark maintain good airflow around the root system, allowing the roots to breathe while preventing excess water from remaining in the pot for too long. Finally, I cover the surface with a thin layer of moss. This moss layer helps retain moisture around the root zone, prevents the medium from drying too quickly, and creates favorable conditions for new root tips to develop. However, only apply a thin layer. Do not make it too thick, as that can reduce airflow and trap too much moisture around the base of the plants. In addition, the layer of sphagnum moss acts as a natural protective barrier, helping shield the root zone from direct exposure to environmental factors such as wind and temperature fluctuations. This helps maintain more consistent moisture around the base of the plant, creating a more stable environment for healthy root development. If you have questions or want to share about orchids, please post on the community tab of the channel. Let us exchange and learn orchid care experiences together every day. At this point, repotting is complete. Simply place the pot in an area with suitable light and continue proper care. Over time, the orchids will gradually stabilize, develop new roots, and grow stronger. Results after 3 months. After 3 months of care, this orchid pot has changed dramatically compared to when I first bought it. From small and fragile orchid plants, they have now developed into a healthy, lush, and much more beautiful orchid arrangement. New leaves continue to emerge. The leaves are larger, thicker, glossier, and have a healthy green color. This shows that the orchids have adapted well to their new environment and are growing steadily. Not only the leaves, but the root system has also developed significantly. Many new root tips have appeared and firmly attached themselves to the growing medium, helping the plants absorb water and nutrients more efficiently. Once the roots are healthy and functioning well, the orchids will have enough energy to continue producing new leaves, forming flower spikes, and preparing for the next blooming season. At this stage, caring for them becomes much easier. You simply need to maintain proper humidity, ensure sufficient light, and provide regular nutrients just like with mature orchids. With a little patience and proper care, these small orchid plants can eventually become lush, healthy orchid pots with spectacular blooms in the future. This shows that the natural care methods used by the Amish can truly deliver very positive results for orchids when applied correctly and consistently. With just simple, easy-to-find ingredients and a little time, we can help orchids grow stronger, develop more roots, and thrive steadily. What do you think about this orchid care method? Have you ever tried similar organic methods? Share your experience or ask questions in the comments below. Remember, orchids are like any living thing. When cared for with patience and attention, they reward us with healthy green leaves, beautiful flower spikes, and stunning blooms that brighten the entire garden.